Welcome to the Lifelong Project Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Phillips. I'm the author of several books on project management, and I'm the instructor for many courses on project management found on Pearson Education, Udemy.com, and Instructing.com. Hi everyone, Joe Phillips here. One of my goals with this podcast is to take some emails and to offer some advice. So if you have questions, email me at joe@lifelongproject.com. I did receive an interesting email from an individual. I'm not going to mention his name because it's a little sensitive, but let me share with you what this individual sent. He writes, I have been working for the same employer for the past 20 years, and of those 20, the last 10 have been with new management. A short time after the branch manager started, he hired his buddy for a supervisor position in my department. Things started to change rather quickly. I was transferred to a different department, and a short time after is when my supervisor started. We were tasked with duties that were outside of our job titles and not compensated for it or recognized. I sat down with the manager one day to voice how unhappy I was working for his buddy due to the fact that his buddy was a micromanager and really didn't care about his employees. The manager convinced me to stay in the department and that he was aware that I was not happy, but when a promotion would come up, he would keep me in mind since I was willing to stay with the department. People started to feel the pressure and leave the company, and some without wanting to, but the stress became too much for them. I hung on and stayed, but the promotion never happened. By then, 3 years had gone by, and I was at the same level, so I decided to speak to the manager again and ask about the promotion. Well, his answer was he had never said that and got upset that I would question that. By this time, I was doing the job of a project manager and not being compensated for it. I complained to one of the HR reps that had been sent due to complaints about management and asked if that was the norm throughout the company of doing the duties of a position, project manager, in my case, and not being compensated for it or even recognized, but carrying the responsibility of a project manager. Her answer was that on a temporary basis, sometimes the company has technicians working on projects assuming the duties of a project manager, but only on a temporary basis. Then she asked me how long I've been assuming the duties of a project manager. I told her I had been doing that for the past 7 years, and she rolled her eyes and said, no, that's not temporary and shouldn't be happening. And I said I didn't think so either. She then mentioned she would speak to the manager about it, but it would be after she flew back to her home office because she was short on time. I didn't hear anything back from her again. A couple of months later, I noticed I wasn't getting any projects to work on. I would only get service tickets here and there and would get tedious, time-consuming duties, like locating a data cable or fiber cable end-to-end for documentation. By then, I knew what was happening. I was being pushed aside and given the most time-consuming duties that required the most walking and having to document and provide proof of what I had accomplished on a daily basis to my supervisor. I decided to go after my PMP certification, and I'm currently working on passing the PMP. I know that I will accomplish what I set out to do. What would your advice be to someone like myself, given my situation? Some might say I should just quit, get another job. But it's not that easy when you have a family to support and a family member that relies on your health insurance. Well, what a loaded scenario, right? So you think about a couple of things that's happening here. One, we have an individual that is doing the duties of the project manager. They're not getting paid to be a project manager. There's obviously a company policy that says that's acceptable on a temporary basis, and certainly 3 years is not temporary. It sounds like to me that not being appreciated for the work that you do and certainly not compensated for the work that you do. After your complaint with that HR rep, maybe she spoke to the manager or supervisor and they pulled you off of projects or had you quit doing that. So in some sense, you got what you wanted in that you were no longer doing project roles. So you're being paid and compensated for the title that you have. And so if you're not a project manager, you shouldn't be doing projects. So there's a little bit of angst here. One, the company's treated you like a PM, but not compensated you or really given you the respect that that title deserves. Two, you understand that there's a little bit of maybe some retribution that's happening here. You complained about it a couple of times, maybe justifiably so, and so you are now getting tedious work that is below your capabilities, and you are not feeling appreciated. I think one of the most dangerous things that a company can do is to not appreciate their employees. When we're in an organization, we're all on the same team, and we expect to be treated as part of that team. Life is too short to be unhappy. Life's too short to be unhappy. About a year ago, not quite a year ago, my brother passed away, and we were really close. We were, it was really tough, still tough to deal with. But one thing that Steve always said, that's my brother, he always said that there's a lot to be said for selling T-shirts on the beach. And I think what he meant by that, or I know what he meant by that, is if you aren't finding joy in the work that you're doing, find work that you will find joy in doing. Now, I'm not saying go sell T-shirts on the beach, but I am saying open the possibilities of finding different employment. You don't have to quit immediately and then go find a different job, but certainly you can start looking for opportunities now. And I think you're taking a great step by going after your PMP. The PMP proves you have experience, and it proves you have the knowledge to pass an exam that will test you on all of the areas of project management. I'm not saying the PMP is a cure-all. Certainly there are people that have the PMP that are not good project managers, but there are lots of project managers that have found success in their life by starting with the PMP, or maybe you're at the CAPM. But find opportunities. There are opportunities out there in the marketplace right now. In the U.S., of course, our economy is booming, and there are lots of jobs. There's more jobs available than there are people to fill those jobs. So there are opportunities available. So get on Monster, get on Dice.com, get on LinkedIn, brush up your LinkedIn profile, and start putting yourself out there. You have about 2 or 3 months. We're kind of ending the year. And companies will ramp up their hiring in December and January, February. So you have some months ahead of you where you can begin to position yourself for another opportunity. My advice, my free advice, would be to stay where you are for the time being and tolerate it and use your time wisely and study and pass the PMP. That you can do this. If others have done it, you can do it too. That you deserve better in your life. Have some ambition, just like you're doing. Ambition sometimes gets a negative connotation, but it's really all about setting goals that are important to you, that are valuable to you, and then you go after those goals. The PMP is not an easy exam, as you know. It's 4 hours, 200 questions. It's a time and a cost investment. So another thing that you could do as you work towards your PMP is go ahead and join PMI. It's about $139. It's $129 plus a $10 application fee. So about $139. And then join your local PMI chapter. You can go out to PMI.org and find a chapter near you. It's a great place to look for opportunities. And so that's something that you should do, that I would encourage you to do. Go ahead and start looking. But lay the groundwork. Treat it like a project, just like you would a regular project, that you need to have a vision, which is your scope. And your scope, of course, is to find a different opportunity that is going to bring you some happiness, to bring you some joy. You've been with this employer for 20 years. You have a lot of experience in your field, and so that's relative information. You have experience in your discipline. So highlight the things that you've accomplished. Put that on your LinkedIn profile. Put yourself out there. Get your resume brushed up and start applying for jobs. But not just any job. Look for jobs that interest you, that seem exciting to you, that's going to give you opportunity to grow, and look for a company that really suits you, not the other way around, because it's a two-way street, right? Your organization, you are part of the same team, or that's the way that it should be. All right, so I hope that gives you some insight, gives you some advice. I hope you embrace that and go forward and find a job that brings you joy. If you have a question that you'd like me to address, send me a note. It's joe@lifelongproject.com, and I'll share that here with others, because other people may be in the same situation as you. Life's too short to be unhappy. All right, keep moving forward.